Hello everyone, my name is Alexander Kazina, aka Kozibear, and I'd like to thank you for joining me this evening for another installment of Season 6 of Kozibear's Cooking. This is a limited run 6-episode show that you can watch live on both twitch.tv/CozyBearLive and youtube.com/@CozyBearLive every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time between September 25th and October. I knew that was coming, and I was like, can I get through my opening speech without it happening? Didn't happen. You can watch it live on both twitch.tv/CozyBearLive and youtube.com/@CozyBearLive every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time between September 25th and October 30th. And if you miss watching it live, don't you worry. You can view full-length VODs of all my past streams on both platforms, as well as clips of the show's best moments exclusively on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. You can find me at Alex Kazina on the latter two platforms. That's at ALEXKOZINA. I have a great episode in store for you, but before I get to today's dish, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So you might remember from some of the past intros of Kozibear's Cooking that I would advertise the fact that I would have highlight reels of my streams available on YouTube. Basically, long story short, this past weekend, I had a lot on my plate. There were a lot of things I was doing for Respawning Fire, the video game podcast that I co-host. And I had a tete-a-tete, which is a French expression meaning head-to-head, with my own head. And I decided, you know what? Right now, with my current setup, with my current workload, with all the things that I want to do, doing highlight reels of every single one of my streams is just way too time intensive. It was very time intensive during season 5 in a way that at the time I was like, well, I'll make this work and people will watch them and gradually we'll build this into a bigger and bigger thing. And they got decent views on YouTube, but they weren't overwhelmingly positive and they took up a lot of my time. My weekends were basically dominated by trying to edit those in time, even though in my schedule, I tried to make it so that I was only working on them on Thursday and Friday, but inevitably I would always work on them through the weekends. Took out a lot of my time. It left me just very exhausted. And I'm trying to, strive for a better work-life balance. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to put the weekly highlight reels of each and every one of my streams on hold. I still want to do some form of highlight reels on a continuous basis at some point in the future. Maybe I'll do it monthly. Maybe I'll do it seasonally. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. And I also will at some point put out a highlight reel of just the pickle pizza stream because I already was halfway through editing it before I decided to stop doing this on a weekly basis. But yeah, it's not going to be on a weekly basis. I do feel kind of bad that going into this season, I was very committed to, I'm going to continue to put out weekly highlight reels, and that I didn't decide in between seasons 5 and 6 to just curtail that because it's just not good for my overall work ethic, mental health, work-life balance. But, sometimes you're on the launch pad, you get going and you realize, oh, I made a mistake. I got to fix things in mid-flight. But that's the current situation. And so, I'm sorry if you guys really, really like the highlight reels. Again, I will try to come up with some kind of highlight reel thing in the future. It just won't be as frequent. All right, let's get back to what we have in store for this evening. Today, you've probably already seen it from the title. I'm going to be making the Apex Legends Behemoth Burger. You can see right over there in the corner of the screen an image of what this beautiful burger is. So, as you know, I showed it off very briefly in episode 1 of Kozibear's Cooking. I recently received the Apex Legends Cookbook, and I used it a little bit in season 5, or was it season 4? It was probably season 4, actually, because I don't think I used it in season 5. Season 4, I used it very briefly to make a milkshake and some cookies. And they were pretty tasty, but other than that, I've basically not used this cookbook at all. And I feel real ashamed because I loved Apex Legends. I don't play it as much nowadays, but back in the day, I played so much of this game, and I feel like I need to pay tribute to it a little bit more. And so today, we're going to be making a real substantial, real big, real behemoth of a meal from the Apex Legends cookbook, and that is the Behemoth Burger. Let me read to you a little bit about the Behemoth Burger from the cookbook. Oh, and I should mention, this is a food product themed around the Apex Legend Bloodhound, which you've probably seen from the thumbnail of this particular stream if you're not familiar with the character. My friend Bloodhound is very different from my friend Mirage. I should mention, by the way, I probably talked about this back in Season 4, but this cookbook is written from the perspective of Pathfinder. I'll just read his brief introduction at the beginning. Hello, new friends. My name is Pathfinder. I'm an MRVN, an Apex Legend, and sometimes an Apex Champion. And so basically he's going around interviewing all his friends, learning about what interesting recipes they like to make. So let's get back to the Behemoth Burger. My friend Bloodhound is very different from my friend Mirage. While Mirage loves to chat while grilling, even when he gets distracted and burns things, Bloodhound is silent and focused. Hey, they're like that in the arena too. I guess cooking and fighting aren't so different. Oh no, I hope I don't get fired from being a legend. Either way, Mirage always says variety is the spice of life, so I'm glad to have such different friends. Oh, Bloodhound is looking at me. I don't know if they're annoyed or happy because of the mask, but the Raven seems angry. That's normal though. Maybe the burger will distract my not quite a friend Arthur before he tries to peck me again. I believe Arthur is the raven or crow that follows Bloodhound around. I'm not familiar with that bit of lore. And so, yeah, this is, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner, a towering, incredibly tall hamburger. I went and got myself this very long knife that we have because the instructions indicate that we want to have some sort of skewer we can put down the hamburger to keep it in place. And I don't know if this is going to be enough, but I do have a few backup things prepared in case it is indeed not enough. So let's go ahead and let's jump right into this. As usual, and this is something you should know going forward with all my streams, I am transcoding all of the instructions that I have from these recipe books onto my phone, just because for the sake of convenience, it's more convenient for me to look at the instructions on my phone than it is to look at it in the recipe book. Actually, real quick, real super duper quick, super duper pooper quick, I just want to verify that my streams are currently live on the platforms that they should be live on, which they should be. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the YouTube and Twitch apps are just not nearly as convenient as you wish they were. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm live on Twitch. That's good. Now I just need to verify YouTube. Sorry, I know this is not very entertaining to watch, but just give me a moment and we will be good. Yep, and I'm live on YouTube as well. So we're all good there, which means that we can jump right into making our Apex Legends Behemoth Burger. Step 1, we're going to kick things off by chopping up some vegetables. We're going to slice a red onion into thin rings, cut up a large tomato into discs, and set both of them aside. Let's go ahead, let's bring in our half and half camera so that we can get a better view of the action on our table. And let us actually zoom in as well. As you can see, we have a lot of things set up on our table, including this giant wok, which I'm going to put over here temporarily. We also have some hamburger buns, which we'll need a little bit later. We're going to start off. We should probably start off by actually using our tomato. I've decided from here on out that I'm going to put any refrigerated ingredients in this little lunchbox over here. In the future, it would be nice to be able to purchase a like a small portable fridge, not a large portable fridge, but just a small portable fridge that I can have set up over here so that I don't have to like just constantly lug things around in a cooler like this. But that's something for the future and not something I'm dying to prepare immediately. All right. I find that this kind of knife tends to work pretty well when it comes to cutting up some of these tomatoes. So I'm going to use this to first Remove the little stem piece, like such. And now, yeah, I'll cut it in the middle like that. And then I guess I'll just go slice by slice like this. Just gotta hold it in place long enough to get my grips in it. And there are a couple of end pieces over here that I feel like I can do a little bit more with. So I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to cut that. And there we go. And I'm actually I'll leave the tomato in this shape, but I'm going to put it in this bowl like such. And there we go. And we will go ahead and we will put that aside for the time being. Our workplace over here is a little bit watery. Let me see if I can wipe it up a little bit. There we go. All right, that taken care of. Next up, we have our red onion, which we're going to want to cut into rings. I'll just knock off here that we used our red tomato. On the little thing that I use on my phone to keep track of where we're at in our recipe, I have like little check marks to indicate, okay, we've used our red tomato, we've used our onion, etc., etc. All right. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start by cutting off the top of the onion. And I'll cut off the bottom of the onion and then get the peel off of this thing to the best of my ability. So a little bit of skin over here. I want to see if I can remove it. And there we go. And yeah, I guess we'll just start cutting from this perspective. Actually, you know what? I think it'll be better if we use the knife that we were going to use for skewering our hamburger later on. We can always wash off the knife so it's not covered in onion juice when we skewer it. There we go. I'm actually going to, I'll just directly put it in the bowl that I was going to put it in. There we go. Oh, there's a little film we can put in the garbage. There we go. There we go. We're almost there. We're not quite almost there, but we're getting there. So many beautiful rings. And yeah, let me just, the final piece is always kind of tough like this. There we go. If I hold it in half, I should be able to get some good cutting. There we go. That's good. That's good. There's some final pieces at the end there that aren't perfect, but we're going to be okay. And just for vent, my eyes from getting too watery, because I can already begin to feel them welling up a little bit, I'm just going to put a little bit of plastic wrap on this thing. There we go. And I'll put this... I'll move these plates out of the way. I'll just put this in the corner alongside the tomato. And there we go. That is step 1 completed. Step number 2. We're going to combine 1 1/4 pound of ground beef, 1 egg, 3 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of salt, and a bit of ground black pepper in a bowl, and then chill said mixture in the fridge for 15 minutes. So I'm going to grab the bowl that we're going to be mixing this mixture inside of. There we go. We're going to be using a digital scale to accurately measure out the amount of hamburger meat we're going to be using for this. Let's see here. I guess I'm trying to think. Oh, we can probably just put the hamburger meat in the thing. That's probably going to make the most sense. Hold on a sec. There we go. All right. Let's grab our meat. And we're going to reset that. Okay. And so we need to measure out a 1 1/4 pounds of the stuff. But you know what? I think it'll be easier if we do it in grams. So if we do a quick little conversion, pounds to grams, 1.25 pounds is 566 grams. So I'm actually going to set the scale to grams, and we will keep adding meat to this until we get to 556. There we go. So how much is that? That is 365. A gram of meat for every day of the year. And now we have meat number 2. We can probably we'll need to use a spoon to mix this up in a little bit, so I'm just going to grab this spoon to help us out here. All right, that is 478. That is 542. Okay, we're going to get very close here. 555. 576. Oh, we're a little bit over. Gotta get a little bit back in here. How much is that? 568. I'm going to say that that's fine. I think that that's just fine. So we're going to go ahead. Not sure what I'm going to use this for. I'll probably make another. I'll probably use the same hamburger recipe to make an additional burger. And we'll also cover this in plastic wrap. This plastic wrap is really not very good. I don't recommend getting no-name plastic wrap. Get a more reliable brand is my recommendation. All right. Come on. There we go. I'm going to put that in here. My hands got a little bit soiled by me dealing with the ground meat. So you know what? I'm going to bring in the sync camera so I can give them a good wash. I did wash them ahead of time, like before I properly started the stream, but it certainly doesn't hurt to wash them again now. And by the way, I've worn these dress shirts on a lot of these streams because I want to feel very officious. I want to give off the air of a very experienced and talented cook. But I think going forward, these sleeves are just kind of starting to become a bit of a nuisance. I think I'm just going to go back to wearing regular t-shirts. It's, you go back to the early days of Kozibear's cooking. You go back to like some of the first streams of season 1. And like, I was dressing up in some dinky ass clothes. Like, there's definitely a couple of streams there where I was wearing like all dark pants and an entirely dark shirt, and I just looked like a dingus. But I think I need to relax my wardrobe a little bit on these streams. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead, bring the sink can out, and let's move on to the next part of this step. So we're gonna combine 1 1/4 pounds of ground beef and 1 egg. Where is my egg? I put my egg in a small container inside here. Here it is. There we go. Good job. I wonder if I should almost get like a compost garbage bin in addition to the regular garbage bin that I have downstairs, considering I do have like a lot of food scraps. And I probably don't need the digital scale, actually, because the only thing I really needed it for was the hamburger meat, so it should probably be fine without it. Let's see, next up, 3 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce. I have VH teriyaki sauce. I don't know what VH stands for, but it's a Canadian brand. It says prepared in Canada on the bottle. So let's grab our tablespoon, measure some of the stuff out. Oh, also, hello to Samu Frito. I apologize, I didn't see you earlier. I'll be attending one of the best culinary schools in January, bro. Got any advice? As somebody who has never been to culinary school, I would say be an attentive student. Always be looking for questions to ask to show that you're engaged. Never assume that anything that you're doing is exactly 100% correct, and don't be afraid to ask for help from those that are better and more experienced than you. I know I realize that advice might sound perhaps a little bit not as perhaps overwhelmingly exuberantly optimistic as you might be hoping for, but I've never been to culinary school, so I'm trying to give you very conservative advice. I don't want to be like, yeah, just go to culinary school and act like you own the place. I have heard from people that have been to culinary school that culinary school, can lay you out on your ass if you're not properly prepared for it, because there are a lot of people in the kind of culinary world that are very serious about the art of cooking, and getting cooking right really requires you to really be on top of things. So I guess my general piece of advice is, take it seriously and take the colleagues that you work alongside seriously. But hopefully you can find a way to have fun in the middle of all that. Thank you, by the way, for tuning in. I appreciate it. We just added 3 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce. Next up, 2 tablespoons of onion powder. I'm going to go ahead. I'll use the 1/2 tablespoon measuring spoon here. So I'll just... Oh, I can't even fit that in. That's not good. Hold on. I have to mix it up a little bit with one of the smaller spoons. Samu Frito says, I just finished my uni exams in the UK, got barely into Cambridge, but I want to follow my dreams. So a bit scared, that's all. Well, I do feel bad if I perhaps made you feel more scared than I intended to make you feel scared. I think there's something really... Let me put it this way. I think that there is something incredibly powerful about knowing exactly what it is that you want to do in life, of knowing what your dream is and being able to follow it. So many of us go through life not knowing exactly what it is that we want to do. And sometimes some of us figure it out, but we figure it out very late in life after so much of our time on this mortal coil has passed. Some of us never even figure it out at all. And so what I'll say is, hey, I think that there are a lot of unknowns to expect in culinary school. It might not necessarily be a, totally fun experience at all times, but I think it's great, Samu Frito, that you know that going to culinary school is your dream and that you're actually able to follow through with that dream, because not everybody can say that they have or are able to do what it is that you're doing. And so I would look at it from that perspective as well. There's a little clump in here that isn't very good looking. And hey, at the end of it all, maybe you come home from culinary school and are like, oh, I think I want to start like a new business. I want to start a new restaurant. I want to start a restaurant chain. I want to do whatever. Or maybe you're like, hey, I can take some of my culinary skills that I learned in culinary school and I can bring them home to the kids on Twitch and I can show them how to do some real cooking. So there are certainly a lot of different ways that you can take your culinary degree. And even if you don't do that, it's great to be able to obviously cook for your family and show them how incredibly talented you are and how incredibly delicious the food you make is. So yeah, I think there's a lot of, I recognize that my initial advice there was perhaps a little bit more on the harsher side, but I think there's a lot of things to be optimistic about. Next up, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. I don't think we need our onion powder anymore, so we're going to put that in the trolley underneath our table. As you can see, I have a trolley here, and when I'm finished with things on the table to help make space, I put it in the trolley. All right. Garlic powder, this stuff's going to be easier to get out of this. This time I'm just going to use the normal tablespoon. That's 1 tablespoon. And that's 2 tablespoons. You know what? I probably used a little bit too much on this one. There we go. I think that helped even it out. I do want to just check real quick. I transcribed most of this information from the cookbook to my phone. I do want to just double check real quick. Yeah, 3 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, and garlic powder each. We're good. All right, next up, we are going to, oh, and by the way, Samu Frito, I need to get that right. Thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And hey, not a problem on the advice. You have a good night. Let's see here. 1 tablespoon of salt. Where is the salt? Oh no. Oh no, did somebody take the salt? Did somebody take the salt back upstairs, or is it somewhere here on the table and I just don't see where it is? Yeah, I think someone took it upstairs. Hold on, I will be right back with the salt. I am back, and I got you salt. Yes, it was indeed taken upstairs. By who? Who could say? But spoiler alert, it was probably me because I made some pasta. And there we go. We added our salt. That should, I probably slightly undersalted it, but that's okay. We'll put that over there. And next up, ground black pepper. Just a bit. Doesn't specify that we got to do like a whole tablespoon of the stuff. There we go, and we'll just sprinkle a bit in there. There we go. That should be okay. That should be okay. I don't think we need any more ground black pepper, so we'll put that in the trolley. And so yeah, after adding it all together, we are going to mix all it up so that we have a nice hamburger patty meat to eventually mold into burgers. It's going to take a moment. It's going to look pretty bad for a hot second, but eventually we'll have it all nicely combined. One thing that was good about that little jaunt that I just did upstairs is that it gave me a moment to put the hamburger meat that I didn't need, the excess hamburger meat, in the fridge upstairs. So at least we got that taken care of. Okay, it's looking better now. It's more cohesive, but we still have more mixing to do. I should probably like exercise, do a lot of stretches before I get into these streams because they're always so much more intensive, physically intensive than I anticipate them being. All right. Give me a moment. I will continue to stir it up a little bit more. Just make sure it's perfectly cohesive, that it's been all nicely mixed together. All right. I'm just gonna push it down so it's a nice cohesive mass, like the end of a Kira. And there we go. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to plop this bad boy in the fridge and leave it there to chill for 15 minutes. So kind of hate to do this so soon after the last BRB, but BRB. While I was upstairs, I also took a moment to wash my hands, so we're good on that front. We need to wait 15 minutes. So let's go ahead. Let's bring in our 15-minute timer and turn it on so that we know exactly when our hamburger mixture is done chilling. All right. Let's go back to our recipe thing. Step 3. We're going to heat a tablespoon of canola oil in a frying pan over medium-high heat and then fry up our sliced onion with a tablespoon of turbinado sugar in said pan until it caramelizes, which will take about 3 to 4 minutes. Let's move around some stuff. We're going to put my hamburger buns over here on this landing because we need to set up our, whatchamacallit. We need to set up our portable burner. And to do that, we need to make sure that we have ample space so random things on our table are not getting accidentally burned or singed or damaged by the intense heat of it. Okay. Let me grab my wire over here. I'm gonna plug that in there. And there we go. Just gonna make sure it's off. Entirely off, so we're not emitting any heat until we absolutely need it to. And next up, we need to bring our portable hood range into view so that we can suck up our fumes as we go. I'm going to plug that into the wall there. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so let's start off. Let's grab our canola oil, and we are going to measure out a tablespoon of the stuff. We sliced up kind of a big red onion, so I'm going to just put a little bit extra, like a tablespoon and a half. I don't think the extra half will greatly impact what we're going to be doing here. I'm going to put that over there. We probably don't need any more teriyaki sauce. I'm actually going to take that off the table. And now I'm going to go ahead and let's actually move that a little bit more centered like that. And I'm going to go ahead and I am going to zoom in. We're going to turn this on, and we are going to set it to medium-high heat. This thing goes up to 7, so I'm going to set it to between 4 and 5. I'm a little bit... Oh, wait a minute. I was like, why is this not turning on? It's because it became unplugged. Here we go. Let me try this again. In fact, you know what? Let me route it through the thingy over here. There we go. Now we're going to turn that on. There we go. And now we're going to do it between 4 and 5. That's good. All right. Let's go ahead. I'm actually going to prepare my onions because I'm definitely not going to want to use all of these pieces of onions, or maybe I will actually. You know what? If considering we're caramelizing it, it's probably okay that we're using all the pieces. There's just a couple of pieces, like these really thick fat pieces that like I just feel kind of iffy about. I'm wondering almost if I had a pair of scissors, I would like cut into them. Let me just do a little bit of quick cutting here. because I can use a knife to make them a little bit thinner. This is another one that's a little bit thick. Just going to let the oil spread around in the pan a little bit. Okay, I think our onions are good to go. We should probably... Actually, I'll probably go ahead. I have our raw turbinado sugar. I'm going to go ahead and actually measure this out ahead of time, just so that we can not have as much work to do when we're in the middle of frying the onions up. Gonna do it over our... oh no, is he... I think the sugar might be stuck. Is it stuck? Hold on. I'm gonna wipe down this knife. I'm gonna just poke it in there. See if we can unstuck some of the sugar. It's kind of like the... it's kind of like the onion powder where it just gets stuck over time. The last time that we used raw turbinado sugar was actually from this same cookbook. I guess the author of this cookbook has a thing for turbinado sugar. And there we go. We're going to not need the turbinado sugar anymore, so we'll put that in the trolley. Okay. How are we coming along? We're heating up, but we can get it a little bit hotter. Just a little bit hotter. And we have 7 minutes to go on our timer, but ultimately, with regards to the whole like meat thing in the fridge, if it's in the fridge for longer than 15 minutes, it's not a deal. The whole idea is that it should be in the fridge for at least 15 minutes to firm up, cool down. I'm going to just very slightly turn up the heat. Phone always gets a little bit greasy in the middle of these cooking streams, which is annoying. Also, I was mistaken. I glanced ahead a little bit. We will need some more pepper, so I'm going to take the pepper out of the thing there. Oh, man. I gotta say, we have a fun set of instructions ahead of us. There's a lot of instructions, and this is going to be a fun creation, to say the least. Just a small bit of water. All I had today to eat was a smoothie before this stream. I like to have these smoothies that have this Costco brand of protein powder mixed in, because I like to give myself a lot of protein in the morning that will satiate my hunger. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn on the hood range. There we go. I'm going to set it on its lowest setting, just because I think that's fine for right now. And I think my oil is heated sufficiently, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the onions and sugar in here. Well, or maybe it wasn't heated enough. Well, it's not a big deal. Oh, I can already begin to hear it sizzle. Yeah, I think we're okay. And we're going to use these tongs to help stir up our onions and sugar in the pot. Maybe I should have. In retrospect, I might have wanted to have separated all the things into rings, but I can just do it in the pot right now. My hands are clean, so it's no concern of contamination. It's like 0.001%. I just need to make sure that I don't touch the super hot pot that they're inside of. That's the only real concern. Here we go. I think this is the last one for us to separate up. This piece is too chunky. I'm going to schlep that in the garbage. All right. Instruction says that we want to wait about 3-4 minutes for it to caramelize. I'm going to actually bump up the heat a little bit more. We're now just a little bit above 5. All right. This is another chunky piece that I don't think will mesh well, so I'm going to put that over there in the garbage. Oh, there's a piece that wasn't properly separated. Here is another piece that wasn't properly separated. Okay. It's like these super duper small pieces. Gotta say, these are some beautiful looking rings. I love their appearance. So yeah, we have exactly 3 minutes left on the timer right now. We'll keep these things going and see where we're at in 3 minutes, but I don't think they're going to caramelize that fast, to be totally honest. That being said, the sugar is well integrated at this point, and the onion slices are definitely becoming a little bit softer. Whew. Hope everyone is having a good day so far. I'm just going to move the hood range a little bit closer. I know this doesn't look great for the camera, but I just want to make sure that it's properly sucking up all the fumes from this thing, so you don't have any issues. Hands are a little bit sticky, unfortunately, which is what happens when you handle both onions and sugar. There we go. We'll keep that doing its thing. Yeah, we're approaching 3 minutes, and clearly our onions are not yet ready, but that's a-okay. We'll keep it going. Even if we were dealing with a slightly smaller red onion, I don't think that they would be ready by this point. Maybe I need to turn up the heat a little bit more. Or maybe I think maybe what I just needed to do is just wait for the oil to get a little bit hotter first. Oh, I just realized We actually are going to need to deglaze with some apple cider vinegar, but did I... Oh, I forgot to write this into my instructions. Sometimes it happens. So here's what it says in the recipe book. Stirring occasionally for about 3 to 4 minutes. Once the sugar is melted and the onions are brown, deglaze with some apple cider vinegar and reduce for 2 minutes. Completely forgot to write that into the instructions on my phone. Sometimes it happens. Let's see here. How much apple cider vinegar? I have it already on the table. 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Here we go. I'm not going to pour it in right now because we need to wait for it to cook a little bit more. I'm just measuring it out so that it's ready for prime time. All right. Let's stir these up a little bit more. I think I measured out a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar over there, but I think I'm probably going to want to measure out a little bit more. I can definitely, yeah, the onions are very slightly starting to caramelize, so we're getting there. We are getting there. They're a lot less voluminous than they were previously. They're kind of collapsing into each other, which is great. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to properly write into the instructions on my phone the apple cider instructions from the cookbook. Then we're going to deglaze our pan with a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar and reduce for 2 minutes. 1 teaspoon apple cider vinegar. There we go. All right, we're getting there. Just like all these things, it takes more time than you would expect. It's a little surprising because, I mean, I was a little surprised when I read the recipe instructions at first that it was only supposed to take like 3-4 minutes. I guess whoever made this recipe relied on like a super duper hot like stove to cook her caramelized onions on. Which is surprising because what we found in prior seasons of Kozibear's cooking is that this burner is like very, very, it goes real hot, real high. in ways that are surprising. Also, we completely missed it earlier, but our timer is up, which means that our meat has been in the fridge for long enough, but we're going to keep it in there for a little bit longer. I'm going to go ahead in the meantime and bring our timer out. And thank God, the formatting of the camera did not get messed up this time. That's good. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead. Let's read a little bit ahead in the instructions. So, after taking care of the onion stuff, we're going to remove our caramelized onions from the pan and then set aside. Then we're going to take our chilled meat mixture. Actually, I just realized we can probably use the same bowl that we used earlier for the onions when they were raw to put our caramelized onions in there after they're done cooking. Then we're going to take our chilled meat mixture out of the fridge and shape it into 4 equal-sized patties. You know what? I don't want to cross-contaminate all my kitchen tools, though, so we'll wait until after this stuff is finished cooking before we do that. Good to know ahead. While this cooks, I just got an idea. I want to read to you some of the other interesting recipes in this cookbook that I was thinking of making, but that ultimately didn't make the cut this season. But, you know, who knows? Maybe they'll make the cut next season. We have the recipe on the front of this cookbook. We have Positively Perfect Pancakes. This is one of Pathfinder's recipes. We have Cereal Killer, which is not cereal. It's like some other... Oh, no, wait. It does involve cereal. It involves red ringed Fruit Loops. This is not very photogenic without being able to show you what this looks like. We have Bloodhound's Breakfast, which is like a British breakfast, which is not what I was expecting because he didn't strike me as very British. Or maybe I'm mistaken. Ooh, Fiery Sandwich. These things look good. These things look good. Actually, you know what? Let me just bring in the zoomed in cook view. At some point, I'm definitely going to make these because these look like they'll be a tasty and not very difficult time. Crypto's Dozirak. I believe this is a Korean dish. That might be fun to make. We're getting to a good one in a bit. Supply box sandwich. Supply boxes are very integral in the world of Apex Legends. They're where you get your guns and munitions and thingamabobs from. There's an entire soup section, but I don't like soup. Oh, we got the Behemoth Burger. There's like another recipe in here that I was like, oh, that's really interesting, but it ended up not working together. Oh, I know what it is, but I don't remember what page it's on. Here we go. Buck Bang. It's an entire box of fried chicken. This is going to be fun to make at some point. Let's bring our top-down camera back in. starting to get a little bit browned here and there. I'm just going to cook them for a little bit longer before we get to the apple cider part. There was one more recipe, though. Aside from the chicken that I was thinking of that eluded me. Oh, here we go. I was really... This recipe that we're making today was almost this meat pie recipe. Let me read to you a little bit about the meat pies. This is Fuse's meat pies. Our time together in the arena has taught me that there are few things Fuse loves more than explosions. Our time together outside the arena has taught me that one of those things might be meat. When I asked him what kind was in the pies, his answer was yes. Fuse says protein is what keeps you ready for a fight at a moment's notice, and this will put some hair on my chest. I don't know how a hairy chassis will improve my combat efficiency, but I'm excited to try it at least once. It's a funny robot right there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add our apple cider vinegar in here. I'm adding in my 1 teaspoon, but I'm going to add a little bit more. Just because we have a nice heaping red onion that we're dealing with. There we go. I'm sorry, apple cider vinegar. I thought that we weren't going to use you at all this evening, but... Thankfully, I checked the cookbook just to be certain, and turns out the cookbook was more aware of what I needed to do than I myself. And so now we'll cook it for maybe another 2 minutes, and we should be good. You know what? I just realized something. I don't know if this bowl that we previously had our raw onions in, I don't know if this accidentally might have gotten a little bit of meat on it. So I'm actually going to bring in the sink cam. I'm just going to give this thing a quick rinse. Just so that we don't have bits of uncooked meat interacting with our caramelized onions. There we go. Oh, let me bring the sync cam out. I actually set up a foot pedal for bringing the sync camera out, but I've forgotten to use it because I'm just not, it's not second nature yet, basically. Realizing part of the problem with caramelizing red onions is they don't appear as immediately and obviously done as like when you caramelize a yellow onion. Caramelize a yellow onion and it turns brown, like real brown, but you caramelize a red onion and it doesn't look... It looks floppy, but it doesn't necessarily look caramelized, like physically, visually, color-wise. I just, at this point, like most of my, like the pieces of onion in this thing are like pretty floppy, but there are a couple of discs like this boy here that feel like they're perhaps not as fully cooked through as they could be. So I'm just going to focus on making sure that they are fully cooked through, and then I'm going to move on to the next step. Actually, I should probably just taste test this thing while I'm here. Just gonna grab a small piece, see how we're doing. If I can grab one of these. Nope, that's too big. There we go, that's small. Small enough. Oh, it's a little bit hot in my hands. Yeah, that's good. That's good, but let me just... I'll just hold out for like another minute or so. Before we move on. In fact, maybe I should pile up some of the other onions on that onion so that their warmth collectively cooks it through. Let's grab some more water. Okay, I'm going to go ahead in steps. I'm going to turn off the burner. I'm going to set its temperature to off. I'm going to unplug it. I'll leave the hood range on because it's still emitting some vapors that we want it to trap. Don't worry, hood. Don't worry, burner. We will be turning you on soon enough. Now, piece by piece, I'm going to grab our onion and put it into our bowl. Let me move that a little bit more in view so that you guys can enjoy this. Just got a few pieces left over here. And you know what? We'll just keep that on the... I'm going to turn off the hood range now. I don't like the fact that you have to cycle through all its various strength levels before you can turn it off. I'm just going to leave the thing on the burner for the time being. But I will probably have to move it over for the next step. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just move this over here. The portable burner is very hot, so I'm going to put on my oven mitts. It's the same Evolution oven mitts as last time. We're going to move it over as well. There we go. I don't want it to get too close to the stream deck because I don't want it to damage that. All right. All right, that taken care of. We are finally ready to move on to step 4. We removed our caramelized onions from the pan and we set them aside. And now we're going to take our chilled meat mixture out of the oven, out of the fridge, not out of the oven. We haven't cooked anything yet, and shape them into 4 equal-sized patties. So I'm going to be right back with our meat mixture. Your boy is back with the refrigerated hamburger patty mixture. Let me just switch back over to my instructions. I was trying to remember whether or not I wanted to use the big cutting board that I have over here off screen to shape my hamburger patties. And in my notes for today's recipe instructions, I didn't really specify which thing I wanted to use for that. But I made a judgment call and decided that yes, I will be using it for just that. So let's go ahead. Let's move back down to our instructions. Yeah, we're gonna shape it into 4 equal-sized patties on this here cutting board. Hold on. Ugh, it feels so uncomfortable to sneeze wearing this apron. So we're gonna cut this thing into like 4-ish shapes. It's okay if they're not perfectly even. And we'll just grab the little bits of meat that are left in the bowl. Then add that to our patties. Damn it, spilled some of it on the table. Not my intention. Spilled more of it on the table. We'll need to thoroughly cleanse it later. There we go. All right. Number 1. I think the best course of action here will be to just shape these into a ball, like such, and then probably flatten them out. There we go. I think that's about good. I'll leave a little indent in the center. Same thing with number 2. We're going to need to thoroughly wash our hands after this, that's for sure. To about the same size. It's number 1. It's good. All right. Number 3. There we go. This one looks a little bit bigger than the other ones, gotta be honest. This is going to be another big one, though. There we go. They're about, it's not perfectly similar. I can probably actually make this one a little bit smaller. There we go. All right. You know what? Hands are perhaps a little bit too dirty right now. I feel bad about closing the door to the, what you want to call it. The sync cam, but thankfully I do have my foot pedal that I can use to bring the sync camera in. I probably will want to wipe down that handle later on, though. I should probably just leave the door open, honestly. It'll make things easier. Maybe I should get one of those soap dispensers that automatically detects when your hands are in front of them. By the way, I'm a little bit, not gonna lie, might need to go to the bathroom. I might take a very quick break to do that. Let me see how I feel when I get back to the table. Yeah, you know what? Feel like I need to use the bathroom. I will be right back. Your boy is back, and yes, I did wash my hands once again after going to the bathroom. I've been washing my hands a lot this stream. Let's move on to our next step. Step number 5. We're going to cook our hamburger patties in our frying pan on high heat, frying each patty about 3 minutes per side. As they cook, we'll add more canola oil as needed and season them with a bit of extra salt and pepper. First things first, I'm just going to grab a paper towel. I'm just going to wipe down a little bit inside the frying pan, just so that we can remove some of the detritus from the onions that we don't need anymore. All right, there we go. Next thing's next. I'm going to move this cutting board over to the side, like here. These plates, we will need these plates later. We're kind of running out of space. What if? There we go. I'll move that over there. I don't think we'll need any plastic wrap anymore, so I'll put that in there. And that over there. It's very hot, but it's not as hot as it was previously. And there we go. I'm gonna, I'll use the tablespoon. Use the tablespoon to measure out a nice tablespoon of canola oil. And turn the thing back on and heat it up to, I actually did not check what temperature we should have this stuff on. I'm assuming it's probably medium high. Over high heat, it's not medium high, just high. I'm going to put it up to just a little bit above 6. But we will still have our canola oil at the ready in case we need to add a little bit more of it. Probably bring the zoom out for a little bit while our oil heats up. Prepare our salt and pepper. I wish I have this pepper grinder that, grinds the pepper for me on the fly, but I always find that the granules of grinded pepper are larger than I wish they were. I wish they were a little bit smaller. I gotta be honest. Okay. Oh, and I just realized we were toying around with this plate a little bit earlier, but this big plate over here is actually where we're going to put our hamburger patties on after they've been cooked. I'm going to grab some paper towels, and we're just going to put this on here because the idea is that we want the excess oils, excess fat of the patties to drain after they've been put on this plate, like such. And that's the current plan. Just want to wait a little bit this time to make sure that our oil is sufficiently warmed before we put our patties on. This is pretty exciting, I gotta be honest. Now, here's the thing. We got a total of just 10 steps to this recipe. We're currently on step 5. I'm telling you right now, some of the steps that we have ahead of us are deceptively very long. And that's all I'll say about that. We do also have one extra thing we actually have to cook after the hamburger patties, but we'll get to that in just a bit. I'm a little surprised that I brought this measuring cup to the table because we actually didn't end up using the measuring cup for anything in the end. I'm just going to put it in the trolley. I'll return it safely to where it originally came from later on. Huh. Oh, I've forgotten about some of the things that we have coming up later in the stream. This is going to be exciting. All right. Baby birds. Mama birds got to throw baby bird out of the nest at some point. I'm going to... Well, how are we going to... We need to take this hamburger patty and put it in the pan. But will it fall apart? No, it won't. All right. 3, 2, 1. There we go. And I think we have enough space for 2. So let's get that second one in there. And there we go. I was concerned for a moment there that we weren't going to be able to get both of them in there at once. I actually have, in fact, I just forgot about this, but I do have a 3-minute timer. So let's bring in the 3-minute timer, and we can use that as a reference to see how well our patties are cooking over the course of those 3 minutes. So I should probably get a little bit of pepper on there. Not a lot, though. I'm surprised by how good I was able to get the roundness of these patties. Normally it's kind of hard to do that. Let's zoom in a little bit, give you viewers at home a better view of the action. Gonna move the hood range in a little bit closer. Oh, spilled a little bit of oil on my phone screen. I don't like that at all. We don't want to damage it. About 20 seconds left, and then we're gonna flip them over, see how they're doing on the other side. And there we go. We have arrived at the end of our first timer, so let's flip these bad boys over. Oh, nice and browned. Very nice. There we go. Again, very impressed by how circular I was able to get these bad boys. Actually, just realized we got our setter timer back to 3 minutes, and we got to do the whole shebang all over again. I have to imagine it probably won't be a big deal that I didn't immediately activate it. Hopefully. Oh, Samsonel, thank you for joining me today. Samsonel says, making me hungry, Cozy. Not quite dinner time yet on the West Coast. Yeah, because right now it's, what time is it? 6:43, so that means it would be more 3:43 where you are. Yeah, it's not quite dinner time yet. I'm in the middle of making the Apex Legends Behemoth Burger, but you probably already saw that from the title of this stream. What we're aiming for is what you can see over there in the upper left corner. It's from the official Apex Legends cookbook. I'm not going to lie, it's been a little while that I've made a proper hamburger myself, and I am interested in seeing how this turns out. The hamburger patties in front of me smell pretty decently, but I will probably want to tear one of them open at some point to see if they're actually cooking through on the inside. So you don't want half-cooked, undercooked hamburger meat. We have about a minute and a half left also for this side of the hamburger patties. So, yeah, we've got some time to go. I'm just going to move them around a little bit. I also do wonder, this is a pretty big frying pan. I wonder if maybe my portable burner isn't as good at uniformly heating up everything on it. It's not a big deal, but maybe in retrospect, we probably could have used like a slightly smaller pan. Also, these patties are just small enough. We probably could have fit all 4 of them in here, but it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. All right, we got about 20 seconds left for this side. You know what I'm thinking? The portable hood range casts a bit of a shadow whenever I have it over the frying pan. Maybe I should add a small light on top of the hood range to cast more light in the pan. That is our 3-minute timer up, so I'm going to just flip them back over just to see how they're doing again on the other side, even though they've already been cooked on this side. You know what? I'm going to grab the one serrated knife that we had earlier, and I'm just going to very carefully, because I don't want to cut on the frying pan itself. I know it's blasphemous that I'm opening up the burgers right here. Oh, those actually, I don't see any pink meat. I think we're good. I think our hamburgers are cooked through, so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to grab these things and schlep them to our... Oh, seems like they're a little bit... That's the one thing, is they seem a little bit unstable. Let me just... This spatula over here is kind of I'm just going to very quickly run over to the sink and just rinse down this spatula because it had a little bit of the, how should I say, the raw hamburger meat already on it. Just going to wipe that down real quick, and then I'll use the spatula to move our hamburger patties over to the paper toweled table that we have over on the other side of the table. And there we go. All right. Number 1. And so again, sorry I had to cut you in half. Number 2. And there we go. And here they are on their plate, letting their juices sop up by the paper towels. Let's see. Nah, never mind. I was trying to wonder if I should do something real quick, but I think we're good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little more canola oil to our pot. I'm going to let that spread around a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to schlep our other 2 hamburger patties in the frying pan. I'm going to bring out the zoom just temporarily so you can see the full action happen in front of your eyes. It's number 1. And that is number 2. Look at how good, look at how circular those shapes are. I did a good job on that, I gotta say. Let's see. Oh, before I forget, let's reset the timer and run it back up again. Man, I feel like maybe we could have been a little bit more efficient in terms of how we prepare these hamburger patties. We don't need this anymore, so I'm gonna put this in the trolley. There we go. That actually is very helpful for us because that clears up a lot of space. In fact, I'm gonna put our other 2 hamburger patties over here where the cutting board previously was. Gonna once again just turn our hamburger patties about, give them an opportunity to cook up all nicely in different sections of the pot. Oh, before I forget, I'm gonna put a little bit more pepper and salt on these patties while they cook. Samson L in the chat says, looks good. Got you on the side here while I update my deck in Pokemon TCG Online. Pokemon TCG Online's never really got into the TCG that much. I have a big binder upstairs of a bunch of Pokemon cards that I used to collect back in the day, but I was uninterested in the game of it all. I was just interested in having a complete collection. And every now and then I get a few new cards, but when I do, it's sort of like, oh, this is not as exciting as back in the day when I was acquiring these cards. But maybe someday I'll finish the collection. I'm wondering, I have thought about maybe checking out like the TCG game that I know is part of Nintendo Switch Online. And I know that there's a new one coming out soon that's like a very simplified version of the TCG that I believe it was Tim Geddes that was comparing it to like being like the Marvel Snapped of Pokemon, which is that's going to be big as well. I suspect I'll try one of these games sooner than later, but I have a lot of other games that I need to get to in 2024 that are kind of more pressing in terms of taking up my time. There's like a pool of oil on top of this hamburger patty over here. I'm just gonna wipe it down. Oh, TCG Pocket, that's the one. I'm excited for it. I love Marble Snap and obviously Pokemon. I mean, I'm interested in seeing what people think about it when it comes out, even though I'm not necessarily gonna play it myself right away. Our timer is up, which means that it is time for us to flip over our hamburger patties, but I think it'll be better if we do this with the spatula. There we go, number 1. And number 2. Let's go ahead, we'll just crack a little more pepper and a little bit more salt on these patties. There we go. I don't think we actually need to use our salt and pepper anymore after this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to schlep these two boys back into our trolley underneath the table. Samson L says, I only got into the actual Pokemon card games like last week. It's simpler than it seems and there's lots to do. Definitely going to give it a look at some point. Definitely going to give it a look at some point. There's just lots of things, lots of different priorities. 2024. I really want to check out the Smiling Man Emio, because I've seen multiple people within the past week be like, yo, people slept on the Smiling Man Emio on the Switch, and you got to check it out. And so I'm very intrigued, one could say. Very intrigued by what that game presents. And I feel like, you know, we're in October right now. That's kind of the perfect spooky game to play in October. Excuse me, I've been burping a little. Just preparing. I got some barbecue sauce for a later step in our burger making process over here. This is gonna get so exciting once we actually get to the process of making the burger. But we're definitely jumping the gun a little bit because there's another critical thing that we're gonna need to make in our frying pan before we can actually even get to that. Let's see, we have just under 40 seconds left for our hamburger patties. This one hamburger patty still came out very circular, which I'm very, very happy with. This one kind of got a little bit scrunched up as it cooked, which I'm a little bit disappointed by. But it happens. Oh, and here we go. 3, 2, 1. And that is that for the timer. I'm going to go ahead. Once again, I'm going to flip them over once more. See how they look on the other side. I mean, they look good to me. And now I'm going to go ahead and I am going to just making sure they're all nice and yeah, there we go. I'm going to schlep them over to our paper toweled plate. It's been waiting patiently for them all this time. There you go, that's one. And that's two. Okay, I'm gonna turn down the heat. I'm still leaving the thing on because we're gonna need to use it in just a moment, but I'm gonna turn down the heat. And I'm gonna just take a moment to scrape up all the bits of meat that have accumulated in the pan while we've been cooking those burgers. And I am going to schlep this in our garbage. Just give me a moment. Here we go. And I am also just very quickly and very carefully going to grab a bit of paper towels and use that to sop up some of the excess meat detritus that's hanging around the pan a lot. I like to use the word detritus a lot. Come to realize something very fun about that word. I don't know what it is. And with that, we have arrived at our next step, which is step number 6. Real simple. We're going to place our we placed our cooked hamburger patties on a paper towel plate. We sopped up the excess oil that's still in our pan, and then we are going to cook 12 strips of bacon in our pan until crisp. I told you that there was something else that we needed to cook in. Yes, it is bacon. Let me show you a little bit about the bacon that we have over here. Let me bring in the full view here. This is a new bacon varietal I've never used before. This is smoky bonfire bacon, double smoked bacon from our friends at President's Choice. It says perfectly smoked as if cooked over an open fire, which I think works well because we're going to be incorporating some barbecue sauce later on into this big ol' hamburger we're going to be making. It says on the back that for pan frying it, we want to place our bacon in a cold skillet. Too late at this point, our skillet is hot, and we want to cook on medium heat for 7 to 9 minutes. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna turn our heat back on to, let's see here. I'm gonna put it between 4 and 5, just a little bit above 4. I think that'll be fine. And 7 to 9 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead. Let me open up the bacon first. With our scissors. In fact, let me bring the top-down camera back in just so you can get a better view of the action. And then once this thing is open, I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. This is kind of hard to... I'm not sure where I should start the incision. There we go. There we go. And there we go. This scissor's pretty soiled now because of the meat. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's see. I'm going to bring in a 10-minute timer. And we'll start it now. And we'll put on our slices of bacon piece by piece. I think we might have actually just a little bit under 12 in this package over here, but that's okay. That's 4. It might be, I think it might be a little tricky for us to cook all the bacon in here all at once. There we go. That's 6. So you know what? We'll work on these 6 first, and then we'll, who knows? Maybe the bacon when they curdle up will still be very big, and we'll just cut these 6 slices into 12, or maybe not. I'm gonna go wash my hands actually, considering we just touched our raw bacon a lot. We can always decide later on whether we want to add more bacon or leave more bacon for something in the future. I have a lot of pizza doughs in the freezer. I could always make myself a bacon pizza. Some of those pizza doughs if I'm looking to use the bacon with something. Gotta bring the sync camera out. There we go. Yeah, depending on the size of, how small this bacon curdles after it's been cooked, I genuinely might end up I might just cut it in half, but we'll see. Actually, while this cooks, eventually we will flip it over like halfway through or so. While it cooks, I'm gonna change some things around on our table. I am going to, let me grab some paper towels. And I'm going to actually grab our cooked hamburger patties and put them on this smaller plate so that we can make room for the bacon to go on this plate. Whoops, a little piece of meat fell. It's unfortunate. There we go. And paper towels are the real MVP of Kozibear's cooking. There we go. Let's grab some more water. Actually, just realized the hamburger patties are on the corner of this table. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them in a location where they won't as easily fall over. There we go. Seems like we're getting about halfway through this. I'm gonna just very slightly turn up the heat. And yeah, I'm gonna flip these over. If I can flip them over, that is. Come on. These are so hard to... There we go. Yeah, you know what? This is not hot enough. It said medium heat, but I think the packaging meant to say medium high heat. I'm going to bump the temperature up a little bit more. I don't think we're going to need this knife anymore, so I'm going to schlep that in the trolley. I just remembered, when we assemble our hamburger at the end, we're actually going to need to use this cutting board that we originally used for our onions way back when. It's time for the sink cam, because we are going to just very quickly rinse this thing again. I'm so grateful that we set up the sink cam, and it's so easy to set up now. The sink cam used to be a real hassle to set up. But now it's fairly easy. Fairly easy. Sorry, just drying the wooden thing down. All right. Put that over there. There we go. Our bacon's finally starting to really earnestly sizzle. Man, I am so excited to get to the hamburger buns. I just love that bread. Love that bread. Let's bring the zoomed in top-down camera again. Look at that bacon cook. Yeah, I think we can definitely cook these bad boys a little bit more. But I don't know, I'm undecided on whether or not let me look at the actual illustration inside the cookbook right now. It's like, how big are these pieces of bacon that are sticking out of it? They actually are kind of big, now that I look at it. They're actually kind of big. Yeah, you know what? I think I might need to cook up some more bacon after this, but this time around I will make sure that the pan is properly heated ahead of time, so they're not cooking on a super low heat for too long. Let's see, do I have any missed calls? Because sometimes people like to... Do I have any previous messages? No, I think we're good. Someone just came home. Oh, also, and the timer's up. All right, I'm just a couple more minutes with these strips of bacon, and then I think we'll be good. Hold on, let me just send a text real quick. There we go. Flip these over. How are we doing on the other side? Okay, I think these bacon things are good. I'm gonna schlep these bad boys over to our paper towel over here. Don't like using my hands, but sometimes you gotta when it's just flopping around like that. Yeah. All right, and let's add the rest of the bacon. Ooh, there we go. That's a nice sizzle right off the bat. Turns out we actually have 13 strips of bacon, so I'm going to fit this final one in here somehow. I'm going to rip it in half. There we go. I'm going to schlep a thing of bacon in the garbage bin, and I think it's time for us to wash our hands again. So let's go and do that. Ooh, I really like how the crisping on these... Oops, never realized that I forgot to take out the sink can. I think what I'm going to do is, right now I have a foot pedal that I've been using when I come in and out of the sink area. I think I got to just put this foot pedal on the wall, and so I just hit it with my hand. Although that might actually be an issue if I'm trying to hit it with my hand and my hand is kind of dirty. I'll have to think it through. But that's an idea for now. Ah. Also, we never actually set the timer on for this one, but that's okay. I'm going to bring the timer out. Let's see, I'm just going to real quick peek ahead at the next few instructions. We're getting close to it, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab one of our hamburger buns. There we go. This is a nice looking bun. The thing is, these two pieces on the side are not getting cooked as much as the pieces of bacon in the center. Let me just try to squeeze everything together a little bit more. Let me grab some of the other things we're going to need soon, actually, out of our cooler pack. Let's see here. I'm going to do another flip. Let's bring our zoom in here. We got a lot of use out of our portable burner this episode. So we don't need any more of our canola oil, so I'm going to put that in the thing. I feel bad for my mom because I have this thing of lettuce over here for reasons that will soon become clear. And yesterday she was trying to make a salad and she was wondering if we had any lettuce around the house. And we did, but I didn't tell her because I needed the lettuce for today's cooking bacon project. Yeah, let me move some of these pieces to the center alongside some of the other side pieces so that we're getting a better... All the pieces in here are getting more evenly fried. Whew, there we go. I think our bacon's almost ready. I'm just going to do one more flip over. Nope. There we go. And we'll just cook it for another minute like that, and then I'm going to take it out of the pan. Whew. So many exciting things coming up. All right, starting with some of the more cooked ones, I'm going to start taking these out. So there we go. That's one. That's two. Well, this one's nicely cooked. Oop. That's three. That's four. And these two guys, I think these two guys suggest use a little bit more cooking, so I'll just cook them in the center for a little bit longer. And then I'll transfer them to the plate. Okay, I think that's good. That's 6.5. And that's 7. There we go. All our bacon is nicely on this plate over here. And now for the next step. It is time... Oh, no, wait. Nope, we're getting a step ahead of ourselves. It's actually time not to do that. It's time to do step 7. We're going to place our cooked bacon on the same plate as our hamburger patties over here. And then briefly toast 2 halves of a hamburger bun in our pan. So just real quick, we're just going to put these 2 halves in the pan for just a moment, just so that they become toasted. And they sop up a little bit of the grease of the bacon, and then we're going to put them on the cutting board that we put aside over there in the other corner. There we go. That's good. There we go. And there we go. All right. And now we're going to turn off our portable burner, unplug it for extra safety. And we're also going to turn off our hood range. Gonna zoom out. Just move a couple things around. Let's grab our Evolution oven mitts. Which, you know. And yeah, we're just gonna put it right far over here to this side of the table. And there we go. Okay, let's put our oven mitts away. We're gonna bring our toasted hamburger patties in here. And now let's move on to the funnest step of them all. Step 8, it's time that we start assembling our Behemoth burger. We're going to first place the bottom half of our toasted hamburger bun on a small cutting board, this thing right over here. And then, in order, we're going to top it with a few slices of lettuce, a hamburger patty, 3 strips of bacon, 2 slices of cheese, 3 pickles, a fourth of the caramelized onions, 2 tomato slices, and barbecue sauce. Whew. Let's start. Yeah, this is the bottom, so we'll start with the bottom. Just put this temporarily on here. Let's go ahead. Let's bring in our half and half camera. Nope. I mean our zoomed in view. And there we go. All right. I want to make sure that we capture this sequence in all its majesty. Let's see. In order with a few pieces of lettuce. So we're going to start with our lettuce first. Got an elastic around it. Annoying. Piece there. And a piece there. And a piece there. I think that's good. In order, a few pieces of lettuce. Hamburger patty. There we go. That's the one we had to cut in half earlier. 3 strips of bacon. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Two slices of cheese. Now, for the cheese situation, the original recipe called for us to use cheddar cheese slices, but I figured, you know what? Rather than go out to the store and get some expensive new cheese slices, I have a bunch of Monterey Jack and Gouda cheese slices. So let's use up those instead. I think they're going to be more flavorful than if we just used old cheddar. So we're going to put a slice of, yep, it's a single slice. It seems like it's multiple slices, but it is just a single slice of Monterey Jack. And a single slice of Gouda. Take this out of the packaging as well. And next up, we got to put on 3 slices of pickles. So we got a pickle jar over here. It's Bix pickles, but this time it's pickle slices rather than pickle chips. Where is... we don't have a fork, but we can just use our hands very carefully. Although I wonder, you know what? Out of concern for the structural integrity of the burger we're going to be making, I'm just going to stick with 2 slices of pickles, actually. 1/4 of the caramelized onions. Let's see here. We can use this. There we go. And I'll put maybe just a little bit more on here. That looks good. Caramelized onions, 2 tomato slices. Maybe I'll put like a big one and a small one. And then a little bit of barbecue sauce. Now here, I'm going to actually make an executive call. This is where we're going to start working on the structural integrity of this thing, because I don't want this thing to suddenly just collapse over. I have a couple of these toothpicks. I'm going to actually just insert them. Oh, almost very slightly touched my hand on the thing over there. Don't worry, I'm okay. I'm going to just insert this through this over here. And yeah, we'll just use that to help keep it in place going forward. I think we'll only need to use one for now. Okay. Let's see here. Barbecue sauce, right. This is Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, award-winning barbecue sauce. Never used it before. And there we go. And that is step 8. And now step 9, real simple and real tough all at once. We're going to repeat the previous step 8 more times. So that means we're going to put on this thing lettuce, a hamburger patty, 3 strips of bacon, 2 slices of cheese, 2 pickle slices, a fourth of the caramelized onions, 2 tomato slices, and barbecue sauce. So in order, let's start with some more lettuce. Next up, our hamburger patty. It's actually kind of good to have that thing in place. 3 strips of bacon. Two slices of cheese. And 2 slices of pickles. Like such. Next up, the fourth of the caramelized onions. Let's see here. I think that's good. But a little bit more. Okay. Man, we have still so much more to go. 2 tomato slices. There we go. Tomato. Barbecue sauce. Once again. Okay. And we start it all over again. So let's grab some more lettuce. Hamburger patty. Actually, you know what? This might be where maybe we might want to put another thingy in here. There we go. Yeah, this will help out. Three strips of bacon. Two slices of cheese. Two slices of pickles. Let's see, fourth of the caramelized onions, so about half of it at this point. This is starting to lean over a little bit. Here we go. Okay, we're gonna now officially we need to just keep holding this thing in place. Fourth, the caramelized onions, tomato slices. And barbecue sauce. Oh, I should have not. It was a mistake for me to screw this thing back in. Okay, and here we go. One last time. Let's do this thing one more time, like in the Spider-Verse. I'm gonna put lettuce. We are going to put our hamburger patty, our final hamburger patty, which has been waiting so patiently. We are going to put 3 strips of bacon. 1, 2, and 3, like such. We are going to put 2 slices of cheese. One, 2. We are going to put 3 pickle slices, but technically 2 pickle slices. We're going to put, let's see, 4th of the caramelized onions. So what remains of the caramelized onions, but we'll see how much we can put on here that makes sense. There we go. 2 tomato slices. And barbecue sauce. Ooh. And then, real simple, we're going to top our towering burger. This is step 10, with a few extra pieces of lettuce and the upper half of the bun, and then carefully insert a skewer throughout the entire burger to hold it together. Go. And here we go. Yeah, this is not tall enough, but we gotta do it. Well, anyways, I mean, we did our best. Let's go ahead. Let's first off zoom out to give you a better example of how tall this thing is. Let me bring in just the normal cook cam because you'll be able to see it on the counter here. Look at how big this thing is. Look at how big this thing is. I got to take some pictures real quick before this inevitably ends in disaster and topples over. I've made a lot of dishes on this channel, but nothing quite like this. I had a lot of fun making this, but I don't know that I'm gonna make this thing again. Just want to get a few things out of the way, because it is actually quite nice looking. And by nice, I mean it's a freakish monstrosity. But there is something, I don't know, I did a better job of creating this thing than I think I anticipated. Okay, I think, let me just do one more picture from that side. Okay, well, that's the Apex Legends Behemoth Burger. I don't know how I'm going to eat this. I'm going to be right up front with you. Oh, wow, it's staying in place. Amazing. Amazing. Let me just bring my zoomed in camera view. I don't know how I'm going to eat this. I don't know how I'm going to eat this at all. I think I'm going to have to epic meal time this one, which is to say I'm going to need to just fucking dig in like, but I'm concerned that my little mic will get in the way. You know what? Sorry, I really want to eat some bacon. That's good bacon. You know what? I'm going to be practical here. Oh, is it leaning over? If I just put it... No. I'm trying to think how I can prevent it from leaning over. I just gotta... It's still leaning over. All right. What I'm gonna do is... I want the rest of my family to be able to enjoy the culinary creation I made today. So I'm gonna actually grab another hamburger patty, and I'm actually gonna just make myself a hamburger out of a fourth of this thing so that I can at least say that I tried it without, potentially causing a crazy collapse and infesting the rest of the burger with my germs. So if I start here, there we go. All right, I got myself a burger, and there we go. We didn't cause a structural collapse. So let's go ahead and let's try out a fourth of the Apex Legends Behemoth Burger. Hold on, I'm moving this plate because it's dripping a little bit. Wow. Wow, that is a good hamburger, but that is a lot. Holy shit. I love the hamburger patty. The bacon is good, but wow, this is a good ass burger. Sorry, I jostled the lav mic a little bit. I'm very happy with this recipe. I was concerned making it that it was just going to be quantity over quality, but this is actually a good ass burger. Good job to whoever wrote it. Yeah, overall, I feel like the hamburger patty, the meat is well seasoned and tasty. The bacon, nice and salty. The addition of the tomatoes, the pickles, the cheese, the lettuce. It all comes together really nicely and actually makes for a very flavorful and varied burger. I'm very happy with this. All right. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning into tonight's stream. Remember that this is Season 6 of Kozibear's Cooking and that new episodes of it are currently streaming live every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both twitch.tv/KozibearLive and youtube.com/@KozibearLive from now until October 30th. You can also watch past VODs about this season and all prior seasons of Kozibear's Cooking on both platforms, as well as clips of this season's best moments on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. You can find me at Alex Kozina on the latter two platforms. That's at ALEXKOZINA. And if you want to keep up with me, what I'm doing outside of my cooking streams, you can also find me on Twitter, which is also at Alex Kozina. Thank you all once again for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. We had just a behemoth of a time. All right, that's a bad pun.